We are awakening together. This is our weekly gathering we hold online. For more information, visit our website, awakening-together.org. We'd love to see you there.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. It is so fun to listen to you play that John Lennon song. If those of you that took True Discernment know that that was one of the songs we contemplated, and it just brings it all back. So this is our weekly gathering, and good morning. And I just want to welcome everybody. And as we greet each other on the board, I'd ask Marisol to play our opening song. Jacqueline, does this ever get easier? Wow. She says it does. Okay. So welcome, everyone. We are here for our weekly gathering, and I want to say Happy Mother's Day to all of you. And I'll start with our statement of purpose. Awakening together is an assembly of equals, joined in common purpose. We have one purpose, which is awakening to that one true self. And within an appearance of many faiths, many cultures, many symbols, members seek to discern one truth and to rest in its embrace. And we pick a core value every time. And the core value I picked today is number 2. I will read that to you. Awakening Together has 5 core values. This is number 2. We realize everyone is equal, and no one has been given spiritual intuition that is an authority over the spiritual intuition of others. We live this value by listening to each other, respecting each other, and allowing each one, everyone, to be exactly where he or she is. That is our purpose. And we are now going to go to announcements, which are definitely printed in front of me, but I know for sure that Yolanda makes the first announcement. So Yolanda, can I give the mic to you? And now we're going to do our opening song in just a little minute. So maybe we shift to the devotional part of our time together this morning, and perhaps you'll just join me, and if you feel to close your eyes. And perhaps we just let this silence speak to us, however it does. So the invitation that I can feel is to get in touch with why I'm here, why we're here this morning. What is the purpose? What is the value? As Adyashanti says, life tends to unfold along the lines of what we value most. Bringing that value, that intention, that spiritual aspiration up into our minds, and allow it to sink right into our hearts. We are grateful for the call that grace has put in our hearts to live from a heart that's free. And we give gratitude for the grace that continually shows us, moment to moment, how it is that we can be in service to Thee, in joyful union with Thee, trusting that we have everything we need, and what we believe we do not have will be given. We actively consent to God's presence right here and now, and God's action within and without. As we move deeper and deeper into our commitment to serve the one true self. Amen. Our reading today is by my friend Lin Castaldo, and she'll be reading from NTI. Thank you, Lin. Lin, you're still muted.
I'm talking to myself. Can you hear me now? Okay. All right. Thank you for this opportunity. Beautiful reading. This is from NTI. It's chapter 8, and it's certain verses that Anne has chosen. Let all things serve the purpose of healing. Do not avoid healing because you do not want to look at the pain of sickness. We must look at it together if you are to be healed. Do not be afraid. I am with you, even now. Stay with the process. Be the good soil that produces a crop. I have already told you that this is a course of looking within. And yet, mind wanders to the world as the source of guilt. Nothing within the world is the source of guilt. Not even what you do within the world can be a source of guilt for you. The outer is a reflection of the inner, because all that you see and experience, you see and experience through the filter of your mind. If you believe that you see or experience guilt, the judgment of guilt must also be in your mind, in the mind. So a part of your healing process is to let loose the judgment you have already put upon yourself. What comes first is first. But when what comes first is changed, all that follows must change also. I'd like to read that again. What comes first is first. But when what comes first is changed, all that follows must change also. There is only one will, and that is God's will. The storm that is raging is within your mind. It rages there because you are asleep. If you were awake to the will of God, your one true will, you could perceive no storm, for there is none. This is the lesson we will learn together. Trust me as your teacher. I will show you that you are at peace. The storm that rages within your mind is like cloud cover, hiding the peacefulness behind it. But the peace is also within you, also, and peace is your natural state. Our purpose is to blow away the clouds so that they disperse, and the naturalness that is within is what is left and is seen and is witnessed. There is a thought within your mind that says the healing that I speak of is impossible and it cannot be accomplished. That is because there is also a thought in your mind that believes the cloud cover is all that you are, and it does not see how all that you are can be made perfect. This is the thought that I have told you about. This is the thought that you are inherently unworthy. This is a thought that focuses on the cloud cover as all there is, and it does not realize that you are the infinite blue sky that rests behind the clouds. To realize your truth, you must have faith that the thought that you are the clouds is wrong. It is a mistaken thought. Yes, it is a thought that you believe. In order to discover for yourself that this thought is totally false, you must be willing to look beyond the clouds with me. You must be willing to take your eyes off of what you believe is true, and in faith, look with me beyond that limit. To stop at the limit will not show you what is beyond it. You do not know what is true, but you can take my hand in faith and walk with me to what I know. In coming with me and seeing beyond the clouds, you shall realize that truth has always been true, and peace has reigned unchallenged while you merely looked away for a little while. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Ah. So I asked if I could play the first song today because I wanted to take you back. I'll tell you how this song kind of walked me through the last number of months. So the song is called "Nothing But Halos," and so it was right around Thanksgiving of this one. And usually in my life, I live in New Jersey, but I've been down helping my mom for the last 4 years. So used to be that I would go to my church here, the Center for Conscious Living, live and do that church. And then I would listen to our church, I'd listen to the recordings, and that was just kind of how I kept up. Well, now, because I was in Florida with mom, I would be able to be here live, and then I would listen to the CCL, the Center for Conscious Living recordings the next day. So right after Thanksgiving, I was doing what I always do, which is listen to the recordings, and of course they had a whole thing about gratitude, and I was listening to it, and I was reminded of this singer who used to play live, singer-songwriter Lou Doty. And it was like it brought all his music back, and I thought, oh, what a gift. And so there was this song, Breathe, and I loved that song. And you know how if you play a song, like sometimes your phone will play the next one for you, you won't pick it. So I'm just walking Reggie, and I'm listening to Breathe, and then the next song comes up in whatever the order is, the phone figures out, which was called Nothing But Halos. So let me play that for you now. Let me tell you about that song, and then I'll let you play the whole thing. So there's this song. It says, "While this perfect little cloud makes its way across the sky," and I'm walking Reggie, and it's just the sky in Florida. I mean, Florida's, for me, kind of a mixed bag, but man, that sky is gorgeous, right? And I'm just watching, and when that perfect little cloud makes its way across the sky, it's a perfect day to live. And then it goes, it's a perfect day to die. And I just thought, no. And I grabbed my phone and I pushed stop. I mean, I couldn't let the song keep playing. It was like, no. And I just got this surge of fear that it's not the perfect day to die. And this is as I'm walking Reggie, who's having trouble moving his legs like he used to. And as I'm with mom, who's having trouble breathing more and more. And I'm just like, no, it is not a perfect day to die. It's like, not yet. Like, not yet. And I realized I couldn't turn the song back on. It was like, no. Like, not just no, but like, absolutely not. You know, I had gotten better at kind of being with everything. And I had, you know, taken my pledge to be a master of acceptance. I'm going to master acceptance. And I was mastering it. And I was even just starting to dip my toe into love, right? I was just a beginner, you know, Dr. Hawkins stages. And so when I was contemplating this, getting ready for the homily, you know, so that day I didn't go back and write anything. It was like, there's no writing. No, there's no writing and there's no song. There's walking Reggie and there's going back in, there's playing some cards and the hell with this. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought I liked Lou Doty, but now I'm not so sure. So as I'm sitting here last couple of days, you know, this really cool thing about, so we've been doing these mind dumps on Tuesday mornings and heart explorations, where you just take 3 minutes, you just dump it out. Well, this other thing I've been doing, it's you know, we all do this. It's like a mind sweep. You stop and you go, what was going on then? Okay, now this is Thanksgiving, and I didn't write it down then. But here's the thing about the mind that I have discovered and just keep deepening into. Anytime we want to know what the mind was thinking, all I have to do is literally sit there and say, what was going on right then? And I put a pen in my hand and I'm just willing. And I gotta tell you, it replays like a tape recorder like it just got spoken. And so it said, no, I'm not there yet. I'm not done purifying. I still get impatient. I still see flashes of annoyance. I don't accept everything. I don't welcome everything. I certainly don't love everything. I'm not the perfect manifestation of love. I am not the love I want to see in the world. No. Like, no. They can't die yet. And you know, what I was able to see is that kind of core error. Apparently, everyone makes. I can't say that. I know I do. Which is getting really committed on this spiritual path, and then wanting to see the perfection in the fourth principle, in the manifestation, right? In the temporary, in the acting out, in the play, and being like judgmental and guilty and shameful and crushed, imagining that the fact that perfection is not in form is somehow a failing, somehow shouldn't be that way, somehow reason to resist and to try harder and to get down on myself, and then use all that energy to push against what is. And then, of course, trying to control life and people and conditions because the reactivity is so painful, and it doesn't meet a spiritual expectation. So I've come to make friends with this song. I've really become a student of this song, and I would ask if Marisol could play the whole song now. Thank you. So what I'm coming to see is I was mixed up about source. Of course, I didn't think I was, right? I do some reading, I've done a fair amount of meditating, and I felt pretty confident, right? But there's another a huge no that came. had two huge no's in the last couple months, and I've shared this so that was Thanksgiving, and so Christmas came. I took mom to the hospital, and she was doing better, and then she decided that she was ready. I wasn't. I was not ready. I still thought I had a to-do list, but I met her in that moment and acknowledged her desire and agreed to help. And it wasn't that long afterwards where I just got so scared, and I thought, well, wait a minute, I just told mom it's okay to die, like, and I just got totally freaked out. I mean, I did not know what to do with myself. It was just inordinately scary. Felt like it was just like kind of like I was going crazy, but I wasn't going to go anywhere. I was going to stay right here. So I've shared, I called Regina, and I told her what was happening, and that I didn't know what to do. And what she said, the first thing she said to me is, "This is natural." What the heck? What is that? This is natural. And I look at let's see if I can put, I did, there we go. So I look at this reading today, right? It didn't feel natural because there was so much fear, there was so much confusion. None of that felt natural. But she's just said, this is natural. So this is NTI Luke chapter 8. The storm that rages within your mind is like cloud cover, and it's hiding the peacefulness behind it. And there was so much egoic energy that I was angry that anyone was going to point out cloud cover and try to tell me anything. There was a natural, it's like, what are you talking about? It was like everything was just wanted to be joined in the story. I wanted to be joined in the resistance. I wanted to be joined in that this can't be. But of course, I didn't want any of that, because if I wanted that, I have lots of people I could have called for that. I didn't want that, which is why I called Regina. So the storm that rages within your mind is like cloud cover, hiding the peacefulness behind it. But the peace is within you also. Nothing but halos. Nothing but halos surround me. They don't look like halos. They don't feel like halos. I can't see halos. The storm that rages within your mind is like cloud cover, hiding the peacefulness behind it. But the peace is within you also. And the peace is your natural state. It's natural. Our purpose is to blow away the clouds so that they disperse. And the naturalness that is within is what is left and is seen and is witnessed. And there was certainly a thought in my mind that said, this is absolutely, utterly impossible. And so this is what NTI Luke chapter 8, apparently this was also playing in Regina's mind when she was scribing this in whatever circumstances were going on. The reading continues, there is a thought within your mind that says, the healing that I speak of is impossible, and it cannot be accomplished. This is because there's also a thought in your mind that believes the cloud cover is all that you are. It does not see how all that you are can be made perfect. And as well as I tried to get really, really good at remembering, forgetting would happen, and then confusion would happen, that I'm supposed to make this fourth principle, me, mom, anyone, perfect. And then it's just supposed to be perfect. And if it's not perfect, I'm supposed to make it perfect. So it's either perfect right now, which it never is, or I'm supposed to get about the business making it perfect. And both of those are just so painful. And the illusion, at least for me, was so convincing. And it, I thought the name of this game was to learn to love mom in spite of her idiosyncrasies, in spite of her imperfections, right? And in spite of mine, like that I was just going to accept and love all that and love her in spite of it. And what I have come to learn is that I was being shown how to love her because of what she is, because of what I am, because of what is, exactly how she shows up. So what I realized in getting ready for this homily is my mother taught me the core value number 2, right? Everyone's equal. I have I've shared this. I had this judgment, I guess, to be honest, the whole time, like growing up and as an adult, that mothers should sit down and talk to their kids, and ask them about their feelings, right? And like be good at that, and then process that with them. Maybe hold their hands and go for long walks and just spend reflective time, right? Where we're just being as it's just emotionally open and intimate and flowy and joined and my mother was a lot of things, but she was never that. That was just not how my mom showed up in the world ever. Ever. And I definitely thought I did it better. I definitely thought I was the way people should be. And I thought she was, what's the nice word? Repressed or stunted or, all the words that we make up. When I have yet to learn that what I truly want to teach myself is that everyone is equal, that there's a natural perfection to them, and it's right in front of me. It's not some future perfection. And no one's been given spiritual intuition that's an authority over another. I had some notions about how people are supposed to die. Lin sent me this great book about death be not. I can't remember the name. It's a great, great title. I think it's like life is but a dream or death is but a dream, right? That kind of thing. And it talks about how people can really have these conscious deaths where they process and they see things and And I had this whole notion, okay, we're going to do this. Mom was like, Mom wouldn't even let me call hospice. She's like, yeah, we don't need that. I think I'm doing just fine. I don't know what you're talking about. I said, well, you got this. No, I don't. She goes, if you want to call, go ahead. And she goes, leave me out of it. But everyone, here's the core value 2 says, everyone is equal. No one's been given spiritual intuition. That's an authority over the spiritual intuition of another. And how do we live this value? We live it by listening to each other, by respecting each other, and by allowing each other to be where they are, how they are, exactly how they are. So you listen, you respect, and you allow. And so I had shared the notions I had about mom, and that I thought this whole purpose of this was to learn to love her despite it. And then I shared last weekend during Mom's Memorial that what I've really been taught is you learn to love all of it, just like it is, because of what it is, right? So then Lin wrote me a little, I'm going to pull this up, a little reflection that got me to reflect even more, which was such a gift. And I'm going to try to pull this up. Here we go. This is Lin writing to me. What I wanted to share was that along with the compassion passed down to you in your mother's unique ways of caring, you developed the gift of words. You have learned and perfected expressing the gifts of life verbally. What you are looking for in the mother-child relationship has developed in you because of your relationship. You are perfecting love and light and going deeper on this journey. How beautiful is that? And I just thought, even these last 4 years, right? If mom had this capacity to relate and connect, and I mean, who knows? I may not have been guided to go so deeply into the spiritual studies I've gone into, right? If I was ostensibly getting those needs met, right? I can just see how God's using everything. He's using what I think I get and what I think I don't get, and then just redirecting. And so this is what I named this homily, Giving the Gap to God, right? And since naming it, I've kind of come to see that it is helpful when I don't know what to do, when the cloud cover is there, when I'm confused. It's very helpful to give the gap to God. But as Regina said when she gave her message on Glenn's service, I think that was last weekend too, the gap belongs to God. God's right there in the gap. I loved how it was just so inordinately helpful to have Regina describe what happens when you lose someone. Of course, I'm familiar with it, but there's just something else when someone reflects it back. So I just took a couple notes. I'm going to read this to you. When we lose a loved one, there's a gap. There's a gap that's left where they were a part of who I am, they're part of my life, my thoughts, my plans, my frustrations, right? My purification. They were kind of entwined with me. And so when they leave, there's a gap where we were one in a way. And when one leaves this earthly plane and one stays, for the one who stays, it's time to find out who I am without you, what my guidance is without you, how God wants to fill the gap. There's a gap, and that gap belongs to God. And it's been so helpful. To have these moments of recognition that I have no idea. I am overwhelmed emotionally, just gutted, and I don't know what it means and what to do. And trusting that I am exactly where I'm supposed to be in the midst of that. Feels like an absolute miracle to just stay in it. We So Susan Telford leads this amazing Lectio Divina on Sunday mornings, and we contemplate a couple poems. And so this morning what came was not until the mind softens. So she read Rumi's poem, Every Midwife Knows. And it's a poem where it talks about how the womb must soften before the child is born, right? And it's not until the mother's womb softens through the pains of labor that a way unfolds and the child finds its way to be born. So similarly, or exactly, it's not until the mind softens from the pain of letting it all be that the truth can find its way to be born. So Rumi writes, to welcome the pain, it opens the dark passage of grace. It says, oh friend, there is a treasure in you. It is heavy with child.
There she is.
Wonderful. I'm going to check to see if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Perfect.
We're having a little weather. What wants to be said? What I can, I guess, intuit, what I can, what I see, when I look back at my relationship with my mom is, I had I guess we all do. I don't know. I can just speak for me. I had like a deep confusion that mom was literally my source, right? I also had the confusion that Reggie, our dog, was my source too, that I needed those two to live. And when that's the confusion, it brings in all these demands. It brings in all these grievances. It brings in all these judgments, because there's a knowing that it's all temporary, right? And that, but there's this equal like subconscious desire to like make it the permanent and make it perfect, and that's that clash of confusion that made it impossible for me to just love mom just like she was. And it was only when I took the letting go of fear retreat early in the pandemic, it was probably about 4 years ago, where I the definition of fear and the letting go of fear retreat is believing that the unreal is real. And believing my mom was my source, that's unreal. It's not true. It's just confusing this forms source with source, right? And once there was a glimpse of that, there's just this enormous capacity for grace to come in and help me see. And basically, it's NTI chapter 8 sums it right up, right? So there's a thought that I've told you about. It's a thought that you are inherently unworthy. When that belief is still playing, all bets are off to believing that I can stay in the pain and ask for grace right then. Because the belief is grace isn't coming. Because even though I started to believe there was grace, I didn't believe it was for me. And I didn't believe it was all the time. I didn't believe it was what I was. And so this is what NTI Luke chapter 8 says. This is the thought that you are inherently unworthy. This is a thought that focuses on the cloud cover as all there is, and it does not realize that you are the infinite blue sky that rests behind the clouds. So when I sat there walking Reggie that day, listening to nothing but halos, and there was this perfect little cloud making its way across the sky, you know, even that moment that seemed so peaceful, there was just still this confusion, right? That everything in form had to stay right like it was for me to be fundamentally okay. And so, like NTI chapter 8 says, to realize your truth, you must have faith that the thought that you are the clouds is wrong. It is a mistaken thought. Yes, it is a thought that you believe. Being willing to see that thoughts are thoughts is like the most radical thing I continue to do. Because as I sit here in this, I'm back in Jersey now in this house, and I'm like, I can see I am not tuned up on. It's a thought. That's a thought. To realize your truth, you must have faith that the thought that you are the clouds is wrong. It is a mistaken thought. That sounds like such a simple insight, but it literally, I have to, what I'm noticing is I have to decide actively that I want to change my mind, because there's so much momentum still with the guilt, and so much momentum with the fantasy story, and there's so much momentum with the Anne that should have done it differently. It just starts to leave the station, and all of a sudden I just kind of feel bad, and so looking right at it, I actively look and say, you know, I see that thought. I know what that comes from. That's the loop. If I think that, I'm going to see it. I'm going to see it. I'm going to experience it. Next thing you know, I'm going to have this whole story about being in this big house all alone, no mom, no dog, and the boys leave later tonight. And there's an echo of the fear that I used to believe that comes up. And that echo is that the cloud covers all that I am. And when that echo gets going and all that emotional energy gets going, I don't see how all I am can be made perfect. None of it looks perfect, right? It's not a perfect day to live. It's not a perfect day to die. But what I can do is, and this is what we do, isn't it? You must be willing to look beyond the clouds with me. You must be willing to take your eyes off of what you believe is true, and in faith, look with me beyond that limit. Proactively identify a thought. Am I still frozen?
Yeah, well, yeah, you froze for a couple of moments there.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I'll finish up, because I think I'm getting the cue from the universe. I want to read one more thing, which I got from Jill. Jill sent me. We've been doing our centering prayer practice, and I'm going to pull this up right here, because this is the essence of what's holding me, and this is the essence of how I live. NTI Luke. This is from Father Keating. We consent to God's presence, letting God decide what he wants us to do. God seems to want to find out what it is like to live human life in us. And each of us is the only person who can ever give him that joy. Hence, our dignity is incomparable. We are invited to give God the chance to experience God in our humanity, in our difficulties, in our weaknesses, in our addictions, in our sins. Jesus chose to be part of everyone's life experience, whatever that is, and to raise everyone up to divine union. So giving the gap to God is the recognition that the gap belongs to God. And what I allow is God to show me how to up my trust, how to deepen my faith, how to take my hand in faith and walk with me, as NTI Luke says. Walk with me to what I know. In coming with me and seeing beyond the clouds, you shall realize that truth has always been true, and peace has reigned unchallenged, while you merely looked away for a while. So can I be as gentle with the looking away a while as wholeheartedly as I am with welcoming the remember? Can I be loving and gentle with the forgetting? And when I do forget, when I am experiencing what seems to be a gap, can I remember to give the gap to God, trusting it belongs to God? We're all being shown. And I'm going to just read one last thing from Joe. Basically, everyone else put this homily together. Let me see, where is it? In the beginning, this is Dr. David Hawkins. In the beginning, a seeker assumes there's a personal self that is seeking the real self. Actually, it is the real self that is drawing the seeker to it. So, are we willing to allow ourselves to be drawn in? And in the words of our next song, why not you? Why not today? Why not now? Let it all fall away. The one who came to you is so long gone, and all that remains is just this song of love. Here in your grace, beloved one. And you are certainly all my beloved ones, and I hold all of our mothers and all of those that have mothered us in our hearts today as we all walk each other home. This is the time where we can look into our hearts and see if we are to continue to mother and support Awakening Together. And if so, we would ask you if you want to use the QR code or in some other way donate. And I would ask Marisol if she could play our song for contemplation. Thank you all. I just want to share one more quick thing, which is another of the ways that I learned to appreciate just how Mom showed up was, even though, as she said to her best friend, Marilyn, and church, she's like, they're real nice, but I don't know what they do. and you know, I just long to share all this with her and do it with her. And you know, that's not what was going to happen. She'd come and she'd support, but she was there on the Zoom when I got ordinated out in La Vida. And when I got home, she had she had pasted this. This is her handwriting. She had pasted this to the front of her trailer. And it just says, "Welcome home, Reverend Anne." And I just taped it into the back of NTI. Because when you meet everyone where they are, you get everything you need. It can't be other than that. And when it's not happening, we just give the gap to God. So this is our time for any sharing. I just invite anyone that feels so called. Regina Dawn Akers.
Yeah, well, this isn't especially deep or anything. I just want to say my mom is like your mom in that she thinks we're all very nice. But she doesn't really understand our spirituality at all. But yeah, you know my mom. She's supportive. She likes us all. So it's just kind of that's actually accepting us as we are, right? My mom is a Christian. Typically hangs out with the Baptist church, although she doesn't call herself a Baptist. She's really into Revelation, and she really believes we're in the end days and all that stuff in Revelation is going to happen. But she never tries to convince me to think like her. right? And yet we, as you know, we live side by side in harmony, love each other. I don't know her people, so I can't embrace them, but I would if I knew them. And as you know, she embraces my people. That sign that your mom hung in the door, that was that accepting you as you are, right? I mean, it's just beautiful. So yeah, they're wonderful symbols of accepting things as they are. And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Yeah, happy Mother's Day to you, Anne, and everyone else. Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful choice, by the way, for Mother's Day.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Melissa, and then we'll maybe play a song.
Well, thank you so much. Beautiful homily. And thank you, Regina. Those were beautiful words. And thank you all for this beautiful space, and happy Mother's Day. That feels really good. So many things hit me in your homily, Anne, and I'm so grateful. And being more in the beginning of this path than advanced in this path, it's so helpful. One of the things that really hit was when you said it is helpful to give the gap to God when I don't know what to do. And one of the things that I found super helpful this last couple of weeks in my substitute teaching experiences with the high school students and some particularly difficult freshman classes is to actually stay in that gap and sit in the discomfort. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without, that was accepting all for me. That was the best I could do in the moment. And it was just sitting in the chaos and the discomfort of my feeling and realizing that's what had to be done. And that was the hardest first honoring of such intense emotion in public in front of, 32 freshmen who were just so dead set on really doing what they wanted to do and not have anything to do with the teacher's lesson plan whatsoever. And just allowing the embarrassment that washed over my face, the energy, the chaos inside my body, to be there and tell them, this feels really uncomfortable. And my only job is to do the best I can to encourage you to follow this lesson plan. And if I can't do that, that's okay with me. I'll sit down. But this is the choices we all make. So I would have never been able to do that and just sit down. And after that, some kids came up and talked to me and tried to get on task. Some kids didn't. And the beautiful reality was being okay sitting in that incredible energy of embarrassment and confusion, and the feeling that knowing that the whole body just radiated, you're completely ineffective right now. There's nothing that you can do here. And also knowing that, wow, there's nothing Melissa can do here. There's nothing to be done here. And I heard all of those things in your homily, and I know there's so much more there, but I'll let the mic go. And thank you so much. It means so much to walk this path with all of you in your life. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. Helena.
So let's see if I understood. When you say give the gap to God, does it means give the pain to God, the pain that you are going through?
Give the whole thing, right? The pain, the confusion, the thoughts that say it shouldn't be like this, the thoughts that say I shouldn't be in pain, the thoughts that say I have been working at this way too long. This should all be resolved by now, or somehow different. Just all of it, right? We just continually up our trust. Like every moment is like, I wonder if in this moment, like this entire moment is designed so that I could get a little bit more practice trusting. Trusting what? Trusting I don't know. Not trusting for an outcome, but trusting because trust is where I rest in God as God arranges things and shows me what's next, is how I would, yeah, wonderful. So we have fellowship time next. And I just thank you all for walking hand in hand with each other and with me on this journey. And I love you. Thank you.
You've been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.